Welcome to the new Rainmaker podcast, a weekly show for visionary founders and team members alike to come together and share the heartfelt, the cringe, and the radically honest truths about what it's really like to build and work for some of the world's most exposed brands on the biggest internet stages. I'm your host, Veronica Romney, and after working for some of the biggest names in the online space myself, I've learned that it takes both leadership and dream team collaboration to truly scale a company to its greatest potential. You can build a business alone, but you cannot scale it on your own. And my goal on today's episode and every episode is to inspire our dreamers and empower our leaders. Make sure to follow and share my podcast with your friends and colleagues, and feel free to tag me on Instagram at vromney with your insights and ahas. Now let's make it rain on today's episode. Okay, this is going to be a special podcast episode because it's just me to you, and it's about something that it weighs on me, you guys. So if you are a high 6 figures, 7-figure, even 8-figure CEO, this podcast is being specifically recorded for you because I see you, I feel you, and I know you are tired. I don't know how else to put it. I work with some of the most successful online CEOs in the biz. And in spite of the success, in spite of your offers being loved and revered, in spite of the number of students that you've attracted to what you do and what you stand for, you are tired. And it's a kind of a unique tired. It's a unique, and I'm not even talking about burnout because that's a whole podcast episode in and of itself. I'm talking about being tired of the weight on your shoulders. There's this mantle when you are the online CEO of a business that is predominantly built upon the foundation that is you, your expertise, your thought leadership, your face. Let's just say it for what it is. You're the primary spokesperson for the company. There is no gecko for you. There's no chihuahua on behalf of your brand. You're it, right? You're the person that people are attracted to. You're the messenger with a message, and they're saying yes to you, even if they've already heard the message before. If that isn't of itself pressure enough, being the primary spokesperson, personal brand for your business, which, there's some feels, right? Depending on the day. If that isn't heavy enough or weighty enough, I know, not guessing, I know that you are also the person who feels the weight of making money for your company, and usually the only person who feels the entirety of the weight of making money for your company. True or not true? I hope this podcast translates in a way that if you were sitting right across from me right now, that we would be having a conversation. That's how I hope this is going to, come off, because I want you to know that I'm not speaking at you, but I'm speaking with you as somebody who deeply understands what it is to be this too. I have had a very unique professional career where I have ping-ponged between being my own CEO over a variety of business types, but also being, leaders. I've been a leader in many organizations myself, and had extremely high proximity to the founder, the CEO, and know what it is to serve that person, to care for that person, to hit company objectives while also being very mindful and conscious of that person's well-being. So I have this really unique perspective where I am you, and I also know what it is to work with you in a position that makes it rain. My background is in marketing. That's my job, right? Marketing, our literal function in the world is to bring this amazing product to the marketplace for purchase and consumption. That's my job. That's what I teach people how to do. That's what I've done for 15 plus years. So I'm in that type of a leadership position. There's a lot of pressure on my shoulders, but it doesn't even come close to the pressure that I have felt that you feel as a CEO that is responsible for the revenue of your business. And if you get sick or you just flat out don't feel like showing up on social media, there's this gnawing, corroding feeling of crap, where's the next dollar coming from if I just want to walk away? And that's the scary part of having a personal brand. There's a lot of flexibility and freedom, and yet it's also heavy. So this podcast goes out to you if this is resonating with you, because I just want to have a really honest conversation of where you need to be fired. That's really aggressive, but it's the honest truth. I need to make the persuasive argument right here, right now, that you should not be the chief everything officer. In fact, what I have often found in working with really successful CEOs like you is there's one position in particular that you white knuckle, that you hold on to so much longer than the others. So let's take a guess at what that is, right? It doesn't bother you to relinquish your calendar. Like, I'll get rid of that. Let's also relinquish our email. Like, somebody else can manage the inbox. Yes, and thank you. Let's also get out of the customer service. I no longer have to be Alex at mycompanyname.com. Like, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to be doing the odds and ends of uploading things into either the project management system or or course platform, or, I mean, come on, we don't have to do the marketing tech or ops anymore. Thank goodness. So you're much more likely at this point, at this level of success, to have relinquished admin, which is more like company-centric stuff. You're also probably more likely to have relinquished customer-centric stuff to some point, right? Like, maybe you're still coaching, or you're still one of the pieces, one of the providers behind the program walls, which I totally understand. But for the most part, you've also let go of some of the issues or the customer service stuff or some of those other layers of managing a customer or Facebook group that's just not in your zone of genius. Let's be very clear. So we relinquish, and we do a better job at relinquishing that. So we're relinquishing company stuff. We're letting go of even some customer stuff. But how about that prospect stuff? So when I say prospect stuff, I mean the marketing stuff. I mean the content stuff. And I mean the social media stuff, right? Because quite frankly, here's my guess, your brand's voice is your voice. It was your marketing savviness, in spite of you not being an officially trained marketer, that got you to this level of success to begin with. It was your face, your message, the way that you said something, the choice that you made to put yourself out there is why you're here in the first place. And every time that you've tried to let it go, like Elsa style, every time you've tried to let it go, oftentimes it's come to boomerang you in the face. And not to say that you haven't had some success in letting go of marketing centric activity, but it's been probably one of the harder endeavors for you than maybe some of the other positions in the company, is what I see and what I have personally experienced being me and running the companies that I've had to run as the CEO of myself, right? So here's what happens, right? We have these beautiful visionaries. I'm going to call you a visionary because you are. You have vision for your company, you have vision for your family, you have vision for your future. This is the gift of the genius that it is to be a visionary entrepreneur. You have vision for future in almost all the quadrants of your life. And then you're also ambitiously frustrated all the time because you're nowhere close to where the vision is. You see something so tangibly. You see the Walt Disney World before it's built. And now you're frustrated that someone's telling you it's going to take you 10 to 15 years to build it. And can we go faster? Better yet, can somebody do this for me? And that's the hard part. This is the bad rep that CEOs get that I just don't prescribe to. The accusation that the boss doesn't want to let go, or that the CEO doesn't want to let go of the vine, circuit traction. No. We do. I do. We, of course, want to let go. It just doesn't seem to go well every time that we do. So now here's what happens. And this is where I'll see it very acutely. This is how I can tell when you're still being both CEO of your company and also chief marketing officer of your own company. Here we are in the middle of a launch. You're the main attraction, baby. You're Adele. Your job is to go on the stage, belt your heart out, and people are going to throw cash at you. That's the job that is the main personality, the spokesperson for the company. And if you're selling through direct sales methodologies, right? If you're in a launch and you're doing different things, or you're at a conference, let's say we're doing in-person stuff, but if you're doing online stuff, you're the face of the Facebook challenge. You're the person that's conducting the webinar. If you're the face and the primary salesperson, the last thing that should be happening for you right now is you catching a broken link 15 minutes before the webinar is live. What should also not happen to you is now you're in the middle of your webinar and people can't log in. People are being kicked out. Stuff is happening in the chat room. You're like, what the hell's going on? This should not even be in your peripheral. When Tay goes on stage, she just needs to sing the songs. When Adele hits, the Vegas stage, she just needs to be Adele. What Adele should not be, which is not in her zone of genius, she should not be doing everybody's hair, makeup, wardrobe. She should not be conducting the band. She should not be the stage director. Like, none of that should be in her peripheral so that she can just take care of her craft, take care of the performance, and give the people what they want. But that's not what happens to the online CEO. They have to be the performer. They have to be the backup dancer. They have to be the chorister. They have to be the hair and wardrobe and all. Like, how many positions do you take in one launch? Just think about it. Reflect back on the last launch that you did. How many places did you find yourself to be in, either doing yourself or QAing everything? Like, you were the last set of eyes to approve everything, every email, every social post, every sales page, every slide, everything. So either you're doing things and staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning, or you're bottlenecking the doers, or you're catching all the things in a really, really, really inconvenient time. If this is your reality, it's because I need to fire you from being your own CMO. Okay, so let's talk about that, because I want to promote you to being a true CEO and founder. And I would like to remove you from having to run the marketing ins and outs while still honoring the visionary that you are. In fact, I'm going to make the argument that the more we can get off your marketing doing stuff and like marketing management list, the more that you can actually have better results for your marketing, because I'm going to give you a new KPI. So let's talk about this, right? Because in marketing, we talk about like key performance indicators. Okay, we want to have new follower growth. We want to see more followers, following us on social media platforms. We want to see our email list growing. We want to see launch revenues increasing. We want to see our conversion rate on our evergreen funnels increase. We want to see these really valuable money generating, numbers go in the direction they're supposed to go. And so CEOs start to adopt these KPIs. They adopt these things as if they were responsible for them because of all the things I just described. No. As CEOs, especially in online-centric CEOs, the number one KPI that you are not taking care of that can actually change the course of your entire business is what I call the visionary KPI. And a visionary KPI is the number of times that you advocate on behalf of your business, mission, and vision, period. It's the number of messaging moments. And you can literally track this on a weekly basis. How many times this week did I go out to the world and be that visionary self and communicate the value of this mission, vision, and business? Okay. It's not validated by the number of people. It doesn't matter if you're in front of a stage of, 10,000 people, or you're at a really, really strategic lunch with one person who can open an entirely new division for your company. It doesn't matter how many people are hearing you be the messenger for the business, but it does matter how many times you're playing the part of that visionary messenger. And there's nobody better, period, end of story. There's just nobody better that does that than you. You're the greatest advocate for what you do. You're the greatest advocate for what you've created. Why? Because you are literally the creator that gave it life. End of story. And the more that you hide yourself behind the walls of the business, the more that you are the cause of stunting your own growth, period. I need you to get out. I need you to get out of the business house. I'm kicking you out of the house, go out on the road and feed us back at home. But what happens when you abdicate the responsibilities within the walls of the business is it all goes to hell. So now you're on the road and you're getting the call and this is on fire and this is on fire. And you're supposed to be present during this mastermind dinner or lunch, and you can't because you're just obsessively checking over your phone. I was just hosting an event and I could see the visionaries who had someone back at home, their work home, take care of things because they were completely present in the room, dreaming big. And I also saw the visionaries that had the laptop in front of them and you could hear the clacking of their keyboard. Why? Because things were on fire and there wasn't anybody at home to put the fire out. That should not be a bit businesses that are completely owner dependent are not businesses. They're just not. So I know these are harsh truths, but I'm also really confident that I'm not sharing anything that you don't already fundamentally know. So if it's affronting, I'm sorry, but I'm not. And if it's validating, then stick with me. Okay. So I'm going to abdicate you. I'm going to push you out of the house. Bye-bye. Like, get out of the house, hit the road, go be Elvis, go be Adele, go be Tay-Tay on her Eras tour. Thank you. And then some. But you do need to have someone in your absence to take care of the house and take care of the family in your absence that you can trust, that can also shoulder the responsibility of revenue growth beyond you. And I'm not talking about people who their successful week looks like a whole bunch of Asana tasks have been checked off. I'm talking about a leader. I'm talking about a mid-tier leader who can act as proxy to you when you're not there, and that has been empowered, educated correctly by you to manage the team as if it was you. It doesn't have to be you. I'm not telling you I want you to find a mini me. In fact, I actually highly recommend that person is not identical to you in personality and character, because that's not adding any more value to the business. But it needs to be somebody who is like you, aligned with the mission and vision and the business objectives, and can stand in proxy to you leading that ship in your absence. Okay. Now, if you've tried to do this, this is maybe what has gone down before. You're like, okay, look, V, I've tried. I have hired people before that I was hoping that could take the reins from me, or I have been really good about relinquishing the doing. Like, I'm not writing the emails anymore. Hallelujah. I'm not the one designing my sales pages and funnel pages. I'm not the one that's setting up all the automation so this email goes out to the right person on the right day, excluding this person who already opted out. Like, I don't do any of that. Thank you. And I don't even, let's say you don't even do most of your social media. Like, I've given away my social media to some degree. I'm not posting, I'm not clipping it. I'm not like doing the ins and outs. I'm just coming up with that initial content. Okay, great. Awesome. But who's managing all of those people? Because you still are. So if you've promoted yourself away from the doing, you're still in a position being the mother hen and the managing. And the effect of you hitting the road and being more of a messenger will be felt by the work kids that you leave behind without the strategy and guidance that they require too. Doers need managers. They do. Like, I would never, it would be very ill-advised if I ever let my writer set their own deadlines. Like, that's counterintuitive, right? We don't do that. Writers are given assignments. They're given criteria for success that they have to hit. They're given tools and assets to make their lives more productive, like a brand voice guide, but they're not in a position to set their own deadlines, because that doesn't serve the whole. And it doesn't mean that what they think should be due is actually matching the dates and the budget that is the launch initiative or the project that you're doing. So doers still need management. They still need deadlines to be given to them. They still need a managerial hand to make sure that they're okay, both emotionally as a whole person, but also that like their skill is being challenged to be better, and that also their output matches the strategy that was laid by somebody besides them. So, and I'm telling you right now, it's not you. Okay, so then who is it? Who is this magical unicorn? Or let's say you've tried to hire this before. So if you're not supposed to be your own CMO, okay, so now I guess we need that person. So let's talk about, and this is where we're going to get really real right now, because I have been this person, right? So I've been a chief marketing officer. I've been a director of marketing. Like I said, I've been that leader. I've also hired for that leader as chief of staff, and I've had to recruit that person, train that person, either to replace me or to add to the dynamic of the company that I was helping restructure. Okay, so like I know what it is to be in your position, hiring this person or searching for this person, because let's say you're like, I don't think there's anybody on the team that can do it. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to go to Indeed. We're going to stalk some people on LinkedIn, hopefully maybe poach somebody who has experience. We're going to maybe hopefully cross our fingers, maybe work with a recruiter and try to get somebody off the shelf who has previous leadership experience, marketing experience, who I can plug into the system. And then I can abdicate myself from that CMO position. What happens? What's happened? I mean, like, again, if you were sitting across from me right now, what would you be sharing with me right now? Here's what I see. This is what I see on a regular basis when trying to find somebody outside of the walls of the business, and then we plug them into the business. One of two things happen. Either candidates will come to us and they will have all of this incredible previously baked in leadership experience. Hallelujah, because I'm barely learning how to be a leader myself as a CEO, right? But they're lacking either the know-how and skill necessary to actually operate in this arena. There's something really, really unique about the online space around this particular Coliseum. Okay, like we're gladiators, right? These CMOs, these marketing leaders, we're gladiators, and we're gonna go slay. But there's different arena types. How one marketer slays in a traditional business is very different than this online space. And even inside of the walls of the online industry, there's also huge differences because your business models are different. So somebody who is not launch dependent is very different than somebody who is completely launch dependent. Somebody who has monthly reoccurring revenue, somebody who doesn't have a monthly reoccurring revenue product in the business. Like how you market also does radically differ even within the walls of the online space. But as a whole, the online space is a beast so fast. Like the speed in which we pivot, adapt, change on a dime, like as my little boy would say, we're breaking some ankles. Okay. Like it's just nuts. Most marketers who don't come up with you when you're just transplanting them from their pre-existing flower pot environment into yours don't always translate. And it gets really deflating. Or you find candidates that look super sexy on a piece of paper where they've been in the game for a while. Let's say they have like a 15 year marketing pedigree. It's not 100%, but like they have the marketing chops. And you're like, all right, I can take somebody who has at least I don't have to teach them marketing, right? But they got the marketing chops. They've had exposure to the industry. They've been playing the game, and I'm going to bring them in and I'm going to give them some other doers. And they're going to manage these other Rockstar team members. And then I can abdicate the home and I can go and speak on behalf of the home outside the home. Okay, what happens? Well, they don't have previous leadership experience. They still have an identity of being a doer themselves, but now you're asking them to manage other doers. So what's going to happen? Imposter syndrome and the inability to delegate. You might even have somebody on your team right now who has a lot of potential and you admire them so very much. And maybe you've wanted to promote them or you tried to promote them in the past and it didn't work. And it's because you didn't take into account the identity shift that needed to be owned. Like going from being a really proficient marketing doer to being a marketing leader has some feels. This isn't just external tactical skill of like, here's how you conduct a Monday meeting. No, we're talking about the internal of a person too, because like they've already clocked in their 10,000 hours of mastery. They already know how to write the perfect email for the company if they have been working for you a while or run your ads or this or that. And so now you're going to ask them to have patience for somebody else to take their job while they're also trying to take your job. Whoa. So like marketing leaders aren't just found, hired, or even promoted. That's not how this works. In fact, I can take somebody who doesn't have a 10 to 15 year marketing pedigree and I can turn them into this marketing leader of your dreams as long as there's some conditions at play. So what I'm talking about is you, the beautiful CEO, who understands that your next level of growth is where you're actually driving the ship as a CEO and you having somebody to execute your marketing ideas. There's no shortage of ideas. You're ambitiously frustrated. You have more ideas, more things to add to your Walt Disney World business than there is capacity and time to do. We're not needing somebody to come in with ideas. We're needing somebody who can execute your ideas better than even you can while managing people so you don't have to. That's what you need. You want to go to the next level at this point? Like if you're in those high six figures or you've already crossed the threshold of seven figures, if you're really gunning for that next level of growth, both not in just revenue, but also in impact and exposure and brand equity and increasing authority. Like if those are the things that you're wanting to do because you know there's more people to serve and a mission to fulfill, you're going to need a Rainmaker. You're like, Veronica, what the freak is a Rainmaker? Okay, let me explain. A Rainmaker is a full-time marketing leader who is in-house. I'm not talking about part-time. I'm not talking about fractional anything. Let me be very clear. If you're leaving the work home to go communicate on behalf of the work home. I need somebody who is full-time with the members of your team in your absence. I don't want a part-time parent. No, thank you, Nick Cannon. I want a rainmaker who makes it rain for you when you're not there, who also carries the burden of making revenue for the company so it's not all on your shoulders. And that is a full-time in-house marketing leader who, quite frankly, some of the best ones are actually already with you. These are usually rising stars on the marketing team, on the team as a whole, that have aspirations to go to the next level, that are going to be more affordable for you, and they're going to be in bliss because you're adding to their human capital. These are people who, once they are correctly trained and supported, they can very well successfully oversee your revenue generating arm of your business, which is basically owning the prospect journey from lead to conversion on repeat. Like, that's the job, right? Like, I'm not in charge of the customer journey. That's different. How you talk to a customer once they've already purchased from you is different. I'm talking about the Rainmaker's job is to convert $0 into $1 for the business. That's the job. That's the prospect journey from lead capture to conversion on repeat. That's a Rainmaker's job description. End of story. And they do it for you. Basically, you can lean on this person to architect and oversee your marketing initiatives, especially if they're revenue generating sales activity or launches or anything that generates revenue, whether in person or online. That's the job. They're the producer of that show. It's also a Rainmaker, someone that knows how to build a team for you and manage that team while also still being extremely conscious of company culture and creating a really positive one for you. They can protect your content creatorness. A lot of my beautiful online CEOs in this space are fatigued the freak out in creating content on repeat all day, every day. Rainmakers actually take the content and then do the magic. It removes like 90% of that fatigue that you're probably experiencing right now. So like, we train Rainmakers that they can protect your content creation process so that you're not as burnt out, and you can also therefore be more consistent, and more content also gets you obviously more exposure, right? But ultimately, it's someone who can execute your vision for you so you don't have to do it. And quite frankly, to me and all the work that I do, it is the missing piece. It's the missing piece to that founder freedom, because it's the hardest thing to let go. And the hardest thing to let go is going to require you both to level up, and also you both to shift your identity from you having to play CMO to actually owning the fact that you're CEO, but also for your Rainmaker to probably go from being in a doer position into a leader position. Both of you are leveling up. Both of you are simultaneously replacing someone. So your Rainmaker is replacing you, and you're the previous Rainmaker. That's not intimidating at all. And your Rainmaker has to let go to somebody else in a role that they used to, basically perform in. Okay, so there's some feels, right? So how do I do this? And where do we find some of the best Rainmakers? Because you're like, ooh, give me a Rainmaker. I want a Rainmaker. Yes, please, Veronica. Okay, so let me explain where the best Rainmakers are sourced, because it's probably my number one question that I get on a regular basis. The best Rainmaker candidates that we have seen and worked with and that have had the greatest ROI while you're fulfilling your visionary KPI are actually ones that are already on your team and or your life. We actually have quite a few duos, CEO and Rainmaker duos, who are related to each other or have known each other from previous life experiences. What I'm also saying by saying that is that they don't have to have 15-year marketing pedigrees to be successful. So hear me very, very loud and clear. It's not the marketing experience that makes the greatest Rainmakers. In fact, it's more the conviction and passion behind the art that is marketing that is more sustainable long term. There's actually a lot of marketers who've been doing it for a while that actually are really burned out from marketing. That's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is 5 key attributes, okay? So a perfect Rainmaker is, number 1, somebody who has a love for marketing nerdiness. Like, the two of you can totally geek out together on like the commercial or the advertising spot that was played during the Super Bowl. Like, did you see that? Or did you see how Taylor Swift launched her latest album? Oh my gosh, what a genius. Like, you guys kind of geek out about trends. You geek out about how other people are doing it, even if it's not in your industry. Like, there's just this kind of reverence for the art that is marketing that you both possess and that you guys can like nerd out on. Okay. If somebody is coming to your mind right now, that's a good sign. Number two, the second key attribute to the perfect rainmaker for you and the business that you're scaling and growing is not previous management experience, but the desire, the potential and the desire for them to want to manage other people. Don't put somebody in a leadership position that doesn't like other people. That's just not a good idea. Putting somebody who has an ability to lead and guide others when shown how, I will show them how, but I just need them to want to do that. Like you have to want to have kids. You want to be in a position to manage others. So number one, you as a CEO don't have to. Your number of direct reports basically go to like one or two tops, which is lovely. And number two, this revenue generating side of your business, this marketing lane needs a full-time mother hen to be successful. Like half in marketing help is half-baked results, period. Okay. Another key attribute of the perfect rainmaker is someone who is the ultimate believer in your mission and vision. Like I'm talking like Ted Lasso #believe level here. Okay. I love Ted Lasso. But like they have to have such conviction behind what you do, which is why sometimes some of the best rainmakers are actually previous members, students, or purchasers of your things. Because whatever you said, however you sold, hooked them and their personal aspirations. And so there's an alignment in values that cuts your HR onboarding process like in half, which is fantastic. So they have to have conviction behind what you're doing. It's okay to be challenged, but ultimately you both, in spite of the constructive back and forth, you both know that you believe. The fourth key attribute, I kind of already alluded to this, of the perfect rainmaker prospect for you is someone on your team or in your life who isn't scared to challenge you. Again, this is key, constructively and respectfully. The best leaders are never yes people. Absolutely not. And your company's greatness comes from the back and forth between the two of you. I call it mental ping pong, where like you ping, they pong. And it's this back and forth. Like Tony Robbins says all the time, like where two minds come together, a third is formed. It's not a debate or a competition between their idea, your idea as like two competing marketers, because you're still a really savvy marketer. You wouldn't be in the position you were if you weren't. It's actually what the two of you in your collaboration in the ping pong match, like what you co-create as the best version of whoever's idea or the best way forward in executing that amazing idea. Like it's really somebody that you can spar with and like still hug after the fact. Okay. So again, if that's ringing a bell for you, there's somebody in your life, like pay very close attention. And then the last key attribute of a great rainmaker who can go the distance with you and is sustainable with you is somebody who can handle the arena. I already likened a rainmaker to a gladiator, but that's how it really feels. Like I have a passion for competition. This doesn't mean any particular Enneagram number or somebody who's feistier, that you don't need like a Cuban Latina like I am to be successful. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying this person has to be able to handle the arena. What is the arena? What is a marketing arena? A marketing arena is defined with goals. There's some heat. I mean, it's a game of whack-a-mole. Like there's things that won't go like right. I mean, hello, did you not just see the Love is Blind reunion where they were supposed to be live and then Netflix couldn't even make it work? Like, can you imagine the marketing team in that moment? Like, they were so quick on social media, like, sorry. So like, that's what I'm talking about. Even in the biggest companies, billion-dollar companies, mistakes happen, right? And you don't want somebody who doesn't have the backbone, the demeanor to like brush it off and keep going, right? Like that's like somebody's emotional regulation and well-being matters in really key positions like this. So somebody who is obsessed with goals and setting them, somebody who can handle the heat of the arena, who is resourceful as AF. I'm talking like a creativity around their resourcefulness. If you went to your Rainmaker and said, look, I have this incredible idea for a social media post, but it requires us securing a live donkey. Can you make it happen? You have to be able to work with somebody who you don't have to tell them step by step how to get you a donkey without pissing off PETA. You need somebody who goes, okay, I have never secured a donkey before, but where in the world would I get a donkey? Because this is like brilliant. I know. Let's start calling the petting zoo, right? They have to start because the belief is there. I believe. And now there needs to be a level of creativity to their resourcefulness in the absence of having a play-by-play on how to do something, because you're building this plane as you go. So the Rainmaker is obsessed with goals. They're resourceful AF. They're creative. They can handle the heat of the arena. And quite frankly, they love making it rain. The only thing that this prospective Rainmaker is lacking, if they possess these 5 things that I've just shared with you, is they're missing the support and the correct training to truly step into a leader position so that you have the confidence to let go. That's what I do. That's where I come into play. I literally show CEOs and Rainmakers how to make this relationship work. So everybody's operating in their zone of genius. Everybody's making it rain. Everybody's protecting each other's core queen bee role. Okay. And I do that inside the Rainmaker residency, which is a program that if you followed me enough, for long enough, you'll know that I'm kind of obsessed with making it rain, and I'm really obsessed with everything Rainmaker. It's an identity. It's an empowered, educated, informed identity that lights everybody up. The presence of a Rainmaker in a company is so transformative. I cannot even tell. It's like, how do you articulate? It's like a MasterCard commercial, like backpack, $20, successful launch, $2 million. Working with people who get you, priceless. I don't know how else to put it. The presence of a Rainmaker in a business, it's like the 1.0 version of your business and the 2.0 version of your business, end of story. Now, these Rainmakers or this type of position, when left on its own, let's say you're like, okay, I'm not going to have anybody help me with this. I'm just going to do it. I'm hooked. I'm sold on this concept. I'm going to go out. I'm going to hire a Rainmaker right now, or better yet, I'm going to promote the person that I was thinking of this entire time that Veronica was talking. That's my Rainmaker. I will tell you, this is the sad part, and I'm just going to be really honest with you because that's what you deserve as a CEO from one to another. Rainmakers that are not supported, educated, or empowered correctly turn over 8 to 9 months on average in this industry. In fact, marketing positions like this trigger a recruiter's guarantee more often than any other position that they recruit for. That's why they kind of hate recruiting for these positions. And I've had these conversations with some of my closest friends who are running recruiting businesses. So we've had this dialogue 10 times over. This is all facts. Your Rainmaker, and I alluded to this earlier, but being a Rainmaker is wonderful. But if you're feeling the weight on your shoulders, the last thing we want to do is dump and run and transfer burnout from your shoulders to their shoulders. That's not the goal. That's not what we're doing. And that has certainly been the case. Or if you're being honest, maybe that's what you've done in the past too. And that's not your fault. It's not like somebody showed you how to be a perfect leader yourself. Look, unless you come from a military background that has the layers, or you come from a corporate marketing environment like I have in the past, unless someone has shown you hierarchy, has shown you change adaptation, and shown you organizational accordionship, unless someone has done that to you, and has done that to you in the correct way, in a culture positive way, you don't know how to do this. This isn't something that is inherent. This is something that you're learning painfully as you go. Welcome to parenthood. Welcome to entrepreneurship. It's painful, but it's an acute pain because you're working with humans, with people that you care about. And so when it doesn't work out, it really hurts. And so maybe you're even feeling I don't even know if I want to promote this person because I don't know if I can be the leader that they need me to be. Look, if any of that's resonating with you, then I would love to have a conversation with you. More than anything, I would just love to have a clarity conversation with you. If there's a Rainmaker who you're thinking of, you're you know what, I need a Rainmaker. That, I can tell that's the next significant step in my business journey and in that chapter change that we are seeking and we're ready for. I'm thinking it's this person. I'm not 100%. Let's get on a clarity call. Let's get on a Rainmaker clarity call. They're totally complementary. And let's talk about that Rainmaker, that prospective Rainmaker, that Rainmaker that maybe you're hoping this could be it. And we can go back and forth. And I'm going to ask you some very poignant questions. And I will never mislead you to think this is the right person or not. Honestly, it's probably 50-50. 50% of the calls that I get on that are these kind of clarity calls, I will either affirm, yes, this is somebody I would absolutely, this is the kind of person where you pour into their flower pot and they explode. Or I'm going to be really honest because, again, that's just what you deserve. I'm going to tell you, in spite of you caring about this person, this is the wrong mouse. If anybody's ever read the book, like Who Moved My Cheese, there's different mice. There's the mice that move, and then there's the mice that don't. And sometimes, in spite of our personal affection for somebody, there might be people that I would advise you is the wrong mouse. And it's 50-50. I'm just going to be really honest on where the calls kind of end up. 50% of the time, like, definitely this is the person. And other times I'm like, no, but have you considered this person that you barely mentioned their name in a fringe statement comment like 5 minutes before? Let's talk about that person. And all of a sudden we have a conversation about that person. Like, oh my gosh, I never even thought about it, but you're totally right. Like, that is something that happens so often. I cannot even tell you. The reason that I'm inviting you to this call, and this is my empathy as a CEO. I'm a marketer for 15 years plus. And yet it's hard to do my own marketing for myself. Why? And this might resonate with you too, because we're all up in our jar. So when you're so close to your team, when you're so close to your business, when you're all up in the jar of this reality, you can never objectively read your label through the jar. It doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's physically impossible. You can't remove your bias. You can't change your lens on a dime. So you're all up in your jar. You're super close to your team members. You're super close to everything that you're doing. And sometimes it's kind of nice to have somebody that you trust help you read the label of your jar in this season. So look, if this is exciting to you, if you're like, yes, V, I need a Rainmaker, I have some thoughts. If this is you and you would like to jump on a complimentary Rainmaker clarity call to talk about what the Rainmaker residency could do for you and this person that you care about to help both of you up level, it's a duo thing, which is like unlike anything else on the marketplace. It's not the kind of thing where you drop off your Rainmaker and car line at 9 a.m. and pick them up at 4. No. This is a program that both of you are the stars, that both of you get the care that you need unique to your positions, that both of you get to operate in your zone of genius and making it rain. If that's exciting to you, then I invite you to join me on a complimentary Rainmaker clarity call. We are doing open enrollment for the Rainmaker residency. It does not stay open forever. In fact, it closes and it goes back to waitlist status. So if this is exciting to you and at a minimum, you just want to get on a call with me, that's the invitation. Join me on a complimentary Rainmaker clarity call. Until next time. Thanks for listening to the Rainmaker podcast. We believe you can't get real results or have real relationships that last without being real first. If you resonated with today's episode, leave us a review so we can keep serving up the truth and tips that help you become the empowered leader that I know that you are. And always head over to veronicarami.com to check out all the free resources I have for you and the show notes from this episode. Until next time, my friends.